Good morning. Here we are, 9 o'clock on what on earth day of the week is it? Thursday. I do believe it is a Thursday morning. I haven't left the house since early Sunday morning. It is like that, definitely like that Christmas period. I have no idea whereabout in the week we are, but I do believe it is a Thursday. So welcome if you are joining me, whether you are catching up later, whether you come on live, do come on and say hello. That helpful ping reminds me that I haven't turned my phone to silent. There we go. And as I have said before, I'm going to aim to come in most mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 9 o'clock, and we'll do a bit of crafting just to give me a bit of a pattern to my day, and to hopefully help you with a bit of a pattern to your day if you are one of those people that are self-isolating, whether you're not feeling very well, whether you're stuck at home with children, whether you can't get out and see your children, whatever it is. Let's just do some crafting together. That's what the plan is, that we're just going to get together and have a bit of a jolly hour. And at the moment we're going to carry on playing with this little welcome Easter stamp set here. These cute little characters, they can't help but bring a bit of a smile to your face. So if you're coming on and joining us live, do say hello. Do let me know who's here with me. And let me know what you're up to. Do chat along. It's all about bringing us out of isolation. We need to be in what I've heard somebody say this week. Just because we're in social isolation doesn't mean that we have to be in emotional isolation. I thought that was very good. So, happy Easter. Yesterday we made this little card from the catalogue and we created our little package. If I should happen to want some sequins, I'm going to have to undo that package. I'll try and find something else to go in it, something else to pad it. What I did think I would do this morning is this little box just here. Hi Valerie. This was one that I designed for the class that was making its way around the county this month. So it did manage to get to Morsley and it did manage to get to Longbuckby, but there's two classes that it didn't manage to get to. So I thought I'd share that little bag with you because this bag die is a really useful little die, and again something that you can be filling with treats for Easter. As we're going at the moment, it may need to be hi Glenda, hi Valerie, I think I said hi Valerie. Perhaps it's going to need to be a pack of tissues and some paracetamol, or a toilet roll. Could you get a toilet roll in there? I'm not sure. If you could get one, your hands on one to put it in the first place. So let's have a little look. So this bag, the basic bag, is created by these all dressed up dies, and actually this all dressed up suite is going to feature a couple of times this morning. So this suite, actually there's a stamp set that goes with it. I think it's still down by my knees. Yes. The Dress to Impress stamp set that's got all the shoes and the handbags and those sorts of things on. Really lovely stamp set, and this is the dies that go with it. So obviously you'll see dies in there for shoes and perfume bottles and buttons and various things, but there is also this bag die. So you've got this big die here, and you have got, let's sort of put something down so it breaks up that background. So you've got this big die and then you've got this handle. So we're going to cut two each of those. So we want two bag pieces and two handle pieces, and that is actually what forms the backbone of our, that's what forms our bag, are just those four pieces. So I've got a piece of saffron cardstock here. Now I have discovered that you can't get two of these widthways, so you do need them to come sort of long ways. So possibly the best thing to do is I'm going to take my trimmer. I'm going to lay that up there. And let's, showing that that piece of cardstock is going to be wide enough. Yes. So obviously the news from the UK here is that all schools will be shutting from Friday. So I'm assuming, Valerie, that that's going to affect you as well. I don't know whether you're going to still need to be going in or whether that means that you're at home for the duration. So let's bring in our big shot and let's cut 2 of these bags out. And then, as I say, we'll need to cut 2 handles as well. If I'd have been sensible, if I'd have had my sensible head on, I'd have made that just a bit wider and cut the 2 handles at the same time. But all sense has gone out of the window, I fear. That's the slightly flatter end. Let's have that end. You don't know yet? No. My girls are like that with their nurseries. They're waiting on more information, and obviously it's all sort of, it's so fast moving, isn't it? It just is. My heart does go out. I mean, regardless of political allegiances, my heart does go out to the people that are having to make all these fast-paced decisions about, you know, what needs to happen, and they're almost they've announced yesterday here that all the exams that the children have been studying for, their big exams, are not going to happen, but that they would, you know, all still get the qualifications they deserve. And it's just like, you can tell that it's just like, you know, we've got to make this decision, but we'll work out the details in the days to come. So it's almost like they can't tell us what that's going to look like, because they're still working it out. But they have to make the safety decisions first. It's a strange old time. But anyway, let's not focus too much on what's going on in the world out there. Let's focus on what is going on in here, which is that I've lost my straps. Oh, here we are. So I've cut 2 of those little bags, and as you can see, you get all the stitching as well as the score lines. So literally, I'm going to be able to, in a minute, fold those bags and stick them together. So let's now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a strip of this card that is long enough for that strip. I'm going to cut a bit that's wide enough for 2 strips. And then I'm going to cut it in half, because what I am going to do, I'm going to put those 2 pieces of card together, and I'm going to run that strap through, and hopefully, I do believe, it will cut out both of those straps with the one run, just to save me and you a little bit of time. Let's make sure it's well and truly on the card, and we'll run that through, run it back. Look at the top of my big shot. It's hardly pristine, is it? It's hardly looking out of the box, but that's because it isn't any of those things. Put that big shot down there out my way for a moment, so hopefully not trip over it. Oh, I don't think I went quite far enough. I didn't run it quite enough to the end, but we're going to be able to just chop those off. So there we are. We have 2 stitched handles, 2 bags. So these bags, as you see, you've got your stitch line, and then in the middle of the stitch line you've got a score line. So actually it's quite useful to have good light to be doing this, because if the light's not very well, sometimes it's not easy to see that score line. But I'm just folding it on those score lines. Now on the bottom here you've got a score line that goes there and a score line that goes there, just to give that side, that's better, some shape. And obviously this bottom flap also folds up. So you can see that bag now starting to take shape. Have you been making lots of bags, Glenda? It's a useful little bag die, isn't it? Particularly for things like Easter treats and those sorts of things. Now I'm folding these fold lines this way, but I'll show you in a minute that you can actually have it going 2 ways. Let's just give that fold there a bit of a nudge so that it will move. Now obviously with these bags you either want to use wet glue or you want to use a really strong adhesive of some sort, because you don't want it falling apart as you go to give your recipient their gift. So I've put some glue on that end and I'm going to stick that bag, and you can see that just nestles nicely along that score line. So I've now got that whole big bag, and when it comes to it we're going to fold that all round and voila, we have our bag. But I want to do some stamping on it before I get to that phase. And then we've got our handles, and there's different ways you can attach your handles as well, and there's different sort of, you can have buckles or buttons or all sorts of things to go on your bag. But we're keeping this one relatively simple. We're going to come into our Welcome Easter, and we're going to pick out this little leaf stamp just here and the little flower stamps, and we're also going to pick out this little buzzy bee. There he is. And we will want Happy Easter, and we're going to want the bunny. Ooh, and we're going to want the grass. So let's pop those to one side for a minute, and let's start with these little flowers. Now I've actually picked out a couple of the ink colours that we're going to be saying goodbye to at the end of May. They may well sell out before then, so you know, your ink colours, you'll be soon getting to the point where it'll be if you want them, get them now, because once they're gone, they're gone. And it doesn't take very long for the inks to disappear once the flag is raised on that. Get them now. Once they're gone, they're gone. And obviously if you do have the inks, do make sure that you also have your re-inkers, because that's important as well. Sorry, I'm just checking that notification on my laptop wasn't anything important to do with us here and now. So I'm just going to randomly stamp a few of these little flowers. Let's move that round that way, and then we can have that nestling in that way. So just a little random smattering of those flowers on the background. Clean up my stamp on my Simply Chamois, and I'll pop those flowers back so I don't lose them, and I'll shut up. Oh, all the stamps have stuck to the bottom of the ink pad. I'll shut up the lovely lipstick. Lovely lipstick ink pad. So that's the lovely lipstick that we've used there for those flowers. Right, let's come on here, and I've got a little block again, and we'll go in with some leaves first. And this is the Call Me Clover. So again, one of those 2018 to 2020 ink colours. And we'll just add in a few little leaves to our flowers. Pop that away. Then we will use our little grass stamp, again in the Call Me Clover, and let's just add some grass along the bottom. I'm going to take that all the way along the bottom because in a minute we're going to have a little rabbit sitting there, so we're going to give him some grass to sit on as well. So, oh, and one more, the little bee, and the bee I'm going to stamp in Memento because I'm going to add some colour to him with my blends in a minute. So yesterday, on our projects yesterday, we used watercolour pencils for one of them. We used ink and aqua painter and actually watercoloured the other one. Today we're going to be concentrating on the stamping blends. We're going to be using stamping blends to colour our little friends today. So I'm going to need that Memento again in just a moment. But first of all, let's stick this bag together because we've got all our stamping on our bag. In fact, no, let's halt just 1 second. Just hold on 1 minute. Let's, before we make the bag, because it will just be easier, let's add a little bit, that's dark mango melody there to the bee's body. And now I want the dark basic black, and I'm going to add that centre stripe in dark basic black and light balmy blue. That will do. I'm just going to add a little bit of light balmy blue to the wings. So there we are, we have our little bee coloured in, we have our flowers at the bottom. Now we're going to bring back in our glue and we will finish creating our card. So we'll put some glue down this other edge, and just as we did with the other one, we will line that up, but obviously that now it's not flat. A good press down, and then we just need to put our tabs in on the bottom and our flaps under. Now, because of the shape of this bag, because you've got this sort of squeezy out bit at the side, it's not a straight up flat side. These bottom flaps don't completely overlap, so there is a little bit of a gap just there, and you need it to have a little bit of a gap, so don't think that you've got it wrong and try and force it so that you haven't got a gap, because you need it to do that. So just sort of let it fold those sides in and let it sit where it's going to sit. I'm going to pop a little bit of Tombow on these side flaps just here, and I'm going to bring that side in. And I will, oh, that's my ruler just having a bit of a wobble. Just going to get my bone folder and give that a bit of a rub, just to help that all to adhere down under there. And then I'm going to put some glue on this bottom flap. Bring that over. And again, if we sit it down on its bottom and give that a good press, that will help that all to stick down the bottom there. Now, so that's the main body of our bag, and you have two choices. You can have your bag so it's like this, like a bit of a tote bag with your sides coming out, or you can choose to pop them inwards and then have it a bit more like a backpack. And there is actually a piece in there that you can use, so here we are, that you could use as your flap coming over for your backpack if you want to make it more of a backpack style. But we're going to have ours coming outwards like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little blob of glue on the end of that strap and stick that just there. And then while I'm going to do the same the other side, I'm going to leave that to set, to adhere, while I carry on and stamp and colour the bunny. So that's both those straps stuck in there. Give those a good squeeze, and so I'm going to leave that a minute, and we'll stick the other side in just a second. If I try and bend the strap and stick that on the other side too quickly, it will just ping off. So slurp of tea, let's not have any pinging off. Right, I've got a bit of Whisper White here. I've already cut some bits out of this strip of Whisper White, but it's perfect sizing for what I need for my bunny. Are you bunny sized? Yeah, I think we'll get away with you being bunny sized. So let's have our little bunny, and obviously you don't have to have a bunny. You could have a little sheep on your bag or a little chick on your bag. Any of those things would be fine. Oh, try not to get big blobby marks of black. There we go. There's our little bunny. He is very cute, isn't he? Right, let's have a dig about. What are we going to want for our bunny? I remember right. I think these are the colours that we went with. I am going to grab my chair. I think we can sit down in the colouring in job. Just clean up the bunny. You can actually go away because I'm not going to need him. So what I've got here is I've got light and dark crumb cake, I've got light and dark petal pink, and I've got the ivory. So those are the colours I've got for my bunny. So I'm going to start with dark crumb cake, and we'll come around the corner of his ears, around the edge of his face. Scribble, scribble, scribble. We'll come around this ear. Now, because you don't want to do great big spaces before you sort of go in with your next colour, I am going to, actually what I'm going to do, excuse me 1 minute, I'm going to go in with the dark petal pink, and I'm just going to give him a bit of some cheeky things going on just there. They look quite bold at the moment, but then I am going to go over it all with my light crumb cake. And you really need to work it, because at the moment we've got quite a dark line just there, but you just keep working that round and it disappears. The line disappears, and likewise we're going to work over those cheeks. We'll leave a little bit of white around the eyes, just to sort of highlight those a little bit. And again, really blend that colour together. And work on where the two shades meet, and you will find that it, as the card is saturated with the solvent in the pen, you'll see the darker shading on the edge. You want that, but what you won't get, what you will lose, is that solid line, which you don't want. There's his little face. Let's do his We'll come round here. Around his body. Let's come round these toes. We'll leave the bottom of the pads of his feet untouched, as we'll come in with a petal pink on those. And then again we'll come in with the light crumb cake and we'll work that body. Come on, bunny, work that body. Very squeaky. I think for people that struggle with this idea of blending, it perhaps is just that they sort of think that you just, if you lay the colour down next to each other, it will work, but you do have to go over the top. So whether you're going dark on light or light on dark, you do need... Hi Wendy, how lovely to have you join us. We're doing a bit of colouring in, you'll appreciate that. There we go. So there's our little bunny body. As I say, I'm not going to take the ivory and I'm going to just do his little, I don't know, furry chest wig, for want of a better word, with the ivory. And then I'm going to take the dark petal pink and just sort of put some dark petal pink down on the feet. Then we'll go in with some light petal pink and just blend that all out. And I think I might go in with the dark petal pink on his nose just to give it a little bit more definition. There he is, and I'm going to leave his teeth white because he's been a very good bunny and has been cleaning his teeth beautifully. Quick slurp of my tea, and then I will grab my snips and we will cut this little creature out. Ooh, our world has just fallen down. Div, hi. Okay, well, I will find that out for you in a minute, Div. Let me just cut out my bunny and I will have a look for you. So, watercolour pencils and Garden Gate. The Garden Gate is fab. And actually, if you're looking for something that's going to sort of provide you with a bit of taking you out of yourself, colouring in, building up pictures, then the garden set, the Garden Gate dies and the stamp set that we were using last week on our lives, that is just the perfect set because you're sort of adding a bit of a flower here and colouring in a background there. But I'll look that up in a minute. I don't want to lose my concentration. I don't want to cut off my bunny's toes at this stage of the game. That would be dreadful. As always, when you're cutting out things, move your card, not your scissors. I'm afraid you're going to lose your curl, bunny. Don't mind coming up a little bit, but I am not going to attempt. to cut round that curl. Don't mind giving you a bit of a quiff. What I will do now is I'm going to take my dark crumb cake, and where I have just cut around that edge and there's a little bit of white card showing where I'm giving them a bit of a quiff, I'm just going to go over with my dark crumb cake and that will colour that in. So there's our little bunny. Good, Valerie. That's it. We all learn a bit of something as we go along, don't we? Sorry, I keep catching the wire and wobbling you. So here's our little bunny. So all we need to do now is to add him to the front of our bag with some dimensionals. So he pops up a little bit. In fact, I think we only need 2 on there, don't we? Let's put 2 big dimensionals on the back there. I've curved him round a bit. It's always worth giving a bit of shape to things. And we'll have him sitting there in the grass amongst the flowers. Then I'm just going to take, let's take this leftover scrap bit of so saffron. Do you know, my brain, partly age, partly due to my age and stage of life, but I think partly due to mental overwhelm. I put a newsletter out last night, so I was still typing that up quite late. And Sam, on his way to bed, said to me, "Mum, just because you are, you know, working pretty well solely from home now, doesn't mean that you have to work 24 hours. I went, "No, I just need to get this out. I need to get..." It's sort of putting in the basics. Having suddenly gone from being a sort of mostly face-to-face demonstrator, I'm suddenly having to go to being an online demonstrator, absolutely virtually overnight. And yeah, although I have a lot of a theory, it's a lot of work getting it all in practice out there to you all, to make sure we can keep on keeping on, keep on crafting. So excuse me if things don't always run according to plan, but like all of us, we're adapting to a new situation. Right, so we've stamped out Happy Easter, and I've just trimmed that round, so it just is literally a strip of card trimmed round. You could obviously find dies or do that with your trimmer. As I said yesterday, I do tend to go by eye. I'm just going to put a bit of faux stitching around that with a journaling pen, just to sort of bring out the idea of the stitching around the bag. And again, that's going to want some dimensionals on the back. Before we stick that across there. And then all that remains is for us to put some glue on the other end. So obviously you could add buttons and sequins and you can dress this up. Absolutely, age is just a number. It is just a number, Glenda, I agree. But the whole thing about the word the word blindness, that is becoming more and more frequent, that, you know, I'm just screaming that I know the word, but I just can't get it from my brain to my mouth. And it's not that they're complicated words. It can be the simplest of words or names, and it's gone. And then suddenly it will pop back. Oh yes, your little dog does look a bit like Wendy's little dog, Glenda. Oh, I'm all up for some mutual dog lovies. Yeah. Right, so there we are. We have a little bag ready for your Easter treats, whatever that might look like, whether it's chocolate, or as we were saying earlier, whether it's something, you know, I don't think you get a tin of beans in there. You might get a pack of soup. You could perhaps send somebody, yeah, a little mini food parcel with little things in it. Chicken OXO cubes or something. There we are. Perhaps that's something for you to decide. How much are you going to what are you going to put in a little bag like that? What could you get in a little bag like that to give to somebody? All answers in the comments or on a postcard. So that's our little bag. So that little bag die is incredibly useful. The whole suite is gorgeous, and I have got, as part of the class that was going to be running using this suite, that isn't now obviously, I've made some quite nice cards. So I might do a YouTube video of one, and I might do that if I can get time. I might do it today and get that uploaded, because it was for a Mother's Day card and it looked rather fab, but never mind, we can share it. Chicken cuppa soups, there you go. Absolutely. You'd certainly get some chocolate bunnies in there, wouldn't you? Yeah. There we go. So I'm going to pop that die to one side for a minute. So that was one that I've got a here's one I created earlier, because I said that was one of the projects that was on its way out on the county tour, and it didn't get very far. So my last class that I did was quite down in numbers, I'm sure, because people were already starting to be worried about coming out into a group situation. So lots of people that would normally have had a chance to play with that didn't. So I thought that was quite a nice thing to do this morning, was to share that with you. Share that bag. As I say, there's lots of things that you can do with that. You can obviously dress it up and make it really girly, handbaggy. Kit Kats. Yes. Gotta love a Kit Kat. They'd fit in there very nicely, wouldn't they? Yeah. They certainly would. Yummy. So let's put our little Easter bags to one side. Now, this next card that I'm going to do is a sort of, you know, vaguely off the top of my head. I haven't got, here's one I made earlier. Hot chocolate sachet and chick marshmallows. This is sounding good. This is sounding good. Get those bags made, ladies. You're already filling them. We're ready. We're prepared. You could go round, couldn't you, and just drop those on people's front doorsteps. That would be quite nice. You could put little somethings in them and just go round to all the neighbours and just pop little chocolates in and just pop them off on their doorstep. Ring the bell and run. Bit of cherry knocking with a difference. That would be really lovely. Oh, Wendy, you don't need to have the pension to do anything. We are just here. I'm coming in doing Facebook Lives 4 days a week now on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is as much about keeping us all company when we're not being able to get out and about as much as we normally would. So if you don't want to make anything, that's absolutely fine. You just come in for the chat. You come in and compare doggies. That's absolutely fine. It's lovely to have people joining us and just hanging out together in this sort of virtual social space, because it's the only one we've got at the minute. Right, now I'm going to share with you a card. This again was something that this was one of the cards that I'd created for this class that isn't going to happen, and this one is using that stamp set that we just looked at with the shoes and the flowers and the pretty papers. Life is short by the shoes. And I made this frame, and it's got like a stand on the back, so you can just stand that up. And yesterday, in fact, I didn't take a picture of it in the end. I'll have to get her to take a picture. Yesterday it was my son's fiance's sister's birthday. That's very long-winded, isn't it? My son's fiancée, Emily, her sister's birthday, 16th birthday yesterday, and she is a dancer. She's a very good dancer. She's very tall and very elegant and very beautiful. So we had deliberately bought this stamp set so that Emily would be able to create a birthday card for her, and she did. And I'll have to get her to send me a picture and we will post it, because we made a slightly smaller frame than this, and we had some silver foil across the back as the mirror. We'd created a bar. We'd got this we'd used this same idea of the embossing folder, the Pinewood Planks embossing folder, to create sort of the bottom. And so we'd made like the ballet studio with the ballerina standing at the bar. In fact, she had two ballerinas standing at the bar. So I thought I quite like that. I love this idea of these. Yeah, Wendy, I'm with you. Yeah, it's been a long time. When I was 16, I could wear shoes like that, but very definitely not now. Very definitely not now. But I loved this idea of this frame, and as I said, we catered a slightly smaller one yesterday with a ballet theme, and I thought, you know what, that would be quite fun to do. We could do like a little frame, box frame card like this with a stand on the back, but instead of glamorous high heel shoes, Wendy, we're going to have fluffy sheep. That perhaps is going to be a bit more manageable for us. So let's take a piece of card, and I've got some balmy blue here because I want that to be my sort of backdrop. That eventually will be the sky, hopefully, in the scene. And I'm going to create this so that the back panel on my card, so this one I think is probably 5 inches. Where did that ruler drop to? Just there. Yeah, so the background, the back part of that box frame, it's 5 inches. It's 6 inches in total across, but the back part of it is 5 inches. I'm going to make one where the back part of it is 4 inches. So that bit is 5 inches. So each side, so that's 5 inch, that's half an inch, and this is half an inch on that side just there. So let's start by doing our little scene that we're going to have in the background, which is 4 inches by 4 inches. And then this bit, I'm going to open out the arm, because this bit needs to be 7 inches by 7 inches. Now this is a point where disaster has struck me, because my embossing blade has fallen out. My scoring blade fell out of my trimmer as I took it to a class, and I haven't got a replacement at the moment, so I'm going to have to revert to an old style trimmer. And actually, no, I'm not. Ignore that. Let's rewind that completely. That's not what we are going to do. What we are going to do is we're going to grab the scoreboard, because that does make it lots easier for this job. So I have got my scoreboard, my piece of 7 by 7 inch card, and so you can see the top of my scoreboard there. So what I need to do, I need to come half an inch in on the top, but I also need to come half an inch down. So I need to stand up for this, the point, and it doesn't have to be exactly exact, it does all come together, but on that half an inch groove that comes down there, I need to start it at 1/2 inch down, and I need to take that score line down until it's 1/2 inch away from the bottom. So that's going to take it down to 6.5 inches there. So I need to do that on all 4 sides, but obviously that starts to get a bit easier. You start to get your lines joining up. 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch there. Take it down, 1/2 inch there, and hopefully this will then all join up. So now you can see I've got this frame there that's going round 1/2 inch in from the edge. So slurp of tea, focus brain, because now we need to do exactly the same, but we need to go 1 inch in and 1 inch down. So 1 inch across, 1 inch down, or as approximately as we can get it, and we're going to come down till we get to 6 inches. I'm going to move that round, inch in, so from 1 inch there to 6 inches there, and from 1 inch there to 6 inches there. So now you can see I've got 2 inner frames, so 2 complete inner frames on that piece of card. So that's put your brain in gear. Section 1. Right, let's go back to my trimmer, and I just need my trimmer this time, so I don't need to worry about the fact that I've not got a score blade. I'm going to take this and I'm going to nestle that point sort of in that groove at the top, because I need this to go, and you can see better when you put your thing down, so I need it to go from that point there to that point there. So let's pick this blade up and bring it there. No, let's pick this blade up and bring it there. So from that bottom point to that top point. And if I do need to just increase that slightly with the scissors, I will do in a minute. But again, from this top score line to this bottom score line. So with both of those angles, I'm just slightly short. So I'm just going to snip it into that corner finally, just there. But it's better to be slightly short. Better to err on the side of being short than to go too far. Right. What the heck? If you haven't done one of these before, you might at this point be going, what the heck, Helen? So we have this outer frame. We've scored this inner frame, and now we've cut diagonally. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold that in on this first score line. And do you know what? I've done all of that, ladies, and not one of you stopped me at any point, did you? So now we'll make our decision in a minute as to, I think what we'll do is we'll do a bigger inside bit. Because that inner frame. So I started off with 7. I should have started off, see, what did I tell you about my brain? I should have started off with a 5-inch square and done all of that, but I didn't. I started off with a 7-inch square. So what I've ended up with in the middle there is a 6-inch square, because now you've got this frame, so you've got 1/2 inch this way, 1/2 inch coming down. and that leaves you with a 6-inch square there. That's because I was thinking to myself, I'm taking an inch off either side, but I don't need to. I need to take half an inch because these bits here don't meet, and they don't need to meet, because what we will do now, we'll just do a bigger picture. That's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut a second piece, and I'm going to make this 6 inches square. So whatever size you want your inner frame, your inner square to be, make your outer frame an inch bigger. So if you want your finished inner frame to be 5 inches, for your outer frame, cut a 6-inch square. If you want it to be 4 inches, cut a 5-inch square. If, like me, you want to end up with a 6-inch, start off with a 7-inch frame. Okay? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. But that's all fine. All fine. We're just going to have a bigger picture. I think it's easier to cut a new frame than new inner bit than it is to start again. So what will happen eventually is that that piece will sit in there, and you'll stick that on the back, and that will give you your frame. And then I will get another piece of card. It's not quite big enough, and we'll cut another 6-inch square that will go on the back, and that will sort of cover up all your workings, if you like. There's nothing like learning on the hoof, is there? We're all learning together. So there you go, Valerie. You've learned how to blend. I've hopefully, if I perhaps need to write that down somewhere, whatever your inner frame. You could, of course, do it so that, you could, of course, do it so that this frame is wider. And if you want this frame to be wider, then obviously if you're having that as an inch wide frame each side, then you would need it to be 2 inches bigger. So, you know, there are sort of ways that you can alter the look. So that little piece there eventually will come on the back, and that will then tidy all that up. So we'll have a nice tidy back and a nice tidy middle. But for now, I'm going to pop that inner out. I'm going to put both my frame and my back piece to one side, and we will also need a piece that we are going to cut to make a stand. And all I've done to make a stand is that hasn't been at all technical. I've just taken a piece of card, and I want it to have a bit of width so that you've got a bit of stability, and I've just gone and I will score that at 1/2 inch down that side, and then I will rest that score mark there in the cutting groove and the point in the cutting groove. Try not to move it. And then I will just cut. So what you end up with is sort of like a flat topped triangle like that. And all you do is you then fold it, and you're going to adhere this to the back of your card, and that will be your stand. Okay, so we've got that all ready to go. So we'll put that to one side as well. So our frame, our back piece, our stand, and our inner piece that we're going to play with. I'm getting lots of lovely messages popping up. Apparently today is National I Care About You Day, and so I'm getting lots of pictures popping up on my messenger. So thank you to everybody that is sending me those. I don't normally pass them on, just in case there's any nastiness connected to them. Not because I don't equally love people and want to pass on messages of love, but just because I want to be careful that I'm not also passing on any viruses of the computer kind. Right, I'm going to trim that piece of see, word blindness, it's gone again. that piece of green card, which is Pear Pizzazz. Just have a quick look at my ink pads. So I've trimmed that piece of Pear Pizzazz card, and I'm just going to cut sort of a hillocky effect with that. That'll be about right, won't we? There we go. So we've got a nice grassy meadow now in which our little sheep can frolic. I think we need some wispy clouds. So I've got the cloud stencil there, and that is from the original set of stencils, because we had new stencils that were issued in the Christmas catalogue which did carry over. But these stencils are the Pattern Party Decorative Masks. There we go. And you get sort of like a brick and spotty and a mandala type one, and the clouds. So that's what we're using, and they're really good value actually. So they're a good size. They're a 6-inch square stencil. You can throw them in the washing up bowl and clean them up, and you can use them for spritzing and embossing and all sorts of things. They're really useful. I have got an online class coming up, a Facebook online class coming up with stencils in April. You might want to look out for. But while I'm here, watercolour pencils. So pack 1 of the watercolour pencils, which includes basic black, basic grey, Bermuda Bay, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, Early Espresso, Melon Mambo, Old Olive, Pacific Point, Pumpkin Pie, Real Red, Witch Raspberry, Whisper White. That's £15, and there are 13 pencils in that one. And then the second set that came out has got 10 pencils in it, and that's the Balmy Blue, Cajun Craze, Cherry Cobbler, Coastal Cabana, Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Garden Green, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Night of Navy. So Div was asking about watercolour pencils. Those are £11.75, those watercolour pencils. So yeah, if you want both sets, £26.75. And I will find for you as well, while we're doing this, public service, Grace's Garden, page 13. So the stamp set is £17. That's quite a good value stamp set. The dies are 33. If you want the whole bundle, they are £45. And you know what £45 means, don't you? £45 means you get a free celebration item. Oh! The world is so excited, it's all falling down. And these, of course, are the second release. And I'm going to be much more with these. The flowering foils, the well-dressed, the very vellum. So very vellum. You can all have those, any of those for £45. Plus any of these that are still available. Happy birthday to you. Sending you thoughts, thoughtful blooms. So I need to go on actually and check. I think the sequins might have gone. Which of these are still available? Or you can join up. Get your starter kit for £99. Have £130 worth of stuff, plus a mini trimmer, plus 6x6 paper pack, and another stamp set of your choice. So that is another option. Always another option. And you've only got until the end of March to get those additional items, to get that mini trimmer and that paper and your additional stamp set. You'll always get your £130 worth of stuff with your £99 joining offer, but the other things disappear. Right, I'm going to use some Whisper White craft ink and a sponge. It looks as if I've got enough ink in there. I don't want it to be too solid a colour. I'm just going for wispiness in the background, and I'm just sponging some ink through that stencil. Fab, look at that. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Okay, I had got my ink refill ready to go. As you can see, my ink refill has had an argument with another ink refill, but that's my craft stamping ink refill that I could have topped my ink pad up with if it needed it, but it didn't need it. Right, so we have clouds, we have grassy meadow. Oh, looking good. I'm now going to, I have already stamped and cut 3 little sheep. Where's the other one gone? Thought I was going to have to do a little Bo Peep job then and go out and rescue my 3rd sheep. So I've already cut out 3 sheep. We'll colour those in a minute. But the other thing I wanted to do was, I've got the Friendly Silhouette dies here. So the Friendly Silhouette dies contain these dies that have got all these sort of grasses, long strips of dies with grasses and wildflowers and things. And there is some little dragonflies. Might go with those. So these second lot of grasses and things as well. Might go for one of each of those actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these out in white cardstock. How are we doing for time? Oh my goodness me. Where did that time go when we were having fun? It's all, sorry people, must stop bashing you. Are you working from home again today, Div? It's quite nice if you're working from home just to be getting on with what you're getting on with on the laptop and listening along to other things at the same time. I do quite a bit of that myself. Let's sneak that in there. Oh, so sorry people. Determined to beat you up this morning. I am just going to cut a couple of dragonflies as well. So through we come. Oh! The dragonflies are fine. I'm going to wiggle that backwards because that initial part wasn't on the cardstock. Now hopefully one dragonfly. I will stamp the dragonflies. That one's not quite cut, has it? Right, these actually cut so that you've not got a piece that's cut off on the bottom of these dies. They cut sort of this pattern out into the card. So I'm just oh dear. Well, we'll be here with you, Div. Now I may have to see if we can release most of that. It's a beautiful dye. Obviously it takes some poking and prodding out because there are lots of little pieces in there, and it may be that where we I hadn't quite got it on the base properly, that didn't all quite cut through. But that was user error rather than dye error. Is that bit is cut out beautifully, so there we go. Let's get rid of that. So we've got our beautiful grasses there. Am I going to get that to sit back in there, or is that a little bit of a wiggle too far? Oh, I don't know. Not looking bad. Let's just run that back through and finish cutting those little odd bits that didn't quite make it the first time. There we go. Just fiddling about with those. I just overcut that slightly, but we're going to be able to trim some of this off anyway. Right, there we go. So we've got, let's move this trimmer out the way, this dye machine out the way a moment. Got our flowers. And just going to run a couple more dragonflies through because they also were a bit of a victim of not quite getting caught. A couple of dragonflies. And excuse me while I'm just looking for the stamp set that goes with those, which is no doubt staring me in the face. Do do do. Oh. It isn't there. How very odd. Now that is odd, but we'll work round it. I thought that was very odd that as I was looking through there I couldn't see it, but no, we will find that. I'll have to have a hunt for that, see where that's gone. But yes, my Friend Like You bundle isn't there, but we have got a couple of dragonflies, so we'll just add some colour in there when we're adding colour into everything else. Okay, let's do some colouring. So we've got a background, we've got butterflies, we've got sheep. We've got a whole box full of stamping blends next to me. So let's go dark old olive, granny apple green, a bit of dark mossy meadow. Let's have some calypso coral. What about a bit of rococo rose? I'm just grabbing some colours now, and we'll see where that all takes us in terms of I could do these as almost like a wheat field, but I'm not going to. I'm going to colour them almost grassy colours. We'll just have these sort of grassy colours in the background. As I say, I might need to trim these down a bit more in a minute, but first of all we'll get some colour down on them. I might even snip them in half, so I've got half going one side, half the other. Who knows? We'll get to flower arranging in a minute. Might need you then, Valerie. You're a flower arranger. I could have gone in and done lots of varieties of green, and probably if I was sitting at home with 2 hours to spare and nothing else to do, you could do. I really love these dyes. They're fabulous to do them in black to create sort of silhouette effects if you've got a nice blended background. But I was sitting here colouring it thinking, can't imagine where on earth that stump set has gone. Have I lent it to somebody? If I've lent it to you, do let me know, because then I won't have to hunt everywhere for it. But I can't think that I've used it in the recent past. Right, let's add in, let's have some flowers. What should we have? I think we'll go the sort of the centre of these flowers is embossed, so it's raised, so like sort of like the centre of a flower, funnily enough. So these round daisy ones, I'm going to do the outside in dark rococo rose. It's a really pretty colour, isn't it, rococo rose? We've got any more daisy ones? That's a sort of daisy shaped one. And as is that one. I think that's the last of those daisy shaped ones. So let's come in. What should we have? It will come light daffodil delight in the centre there. obviously, if you want to go very authentic colours, you can decide which flowers these are and add in appropriate coloured we've got some light granny apple green for the stalks on that one. And I'll do the same over here. This coming down here. And this one here. And that coming down that way. And then actually quite tempted to go in sort of like a pool party colour. Do I want pool party? Yeah, so for these ones here, I'm going to go in with a blue. And then I've got some sort of thistly type ones in there that I think will go in. Ooh, dark Highland heather. Lovely, isn't it? There's madness in the world outside. I'm completely lost in my own little world here. Hope you're all okay out there. I'm just literally lost in my own little world here. Let's have a bit of purple just there, just because we can. We'll have this bit here as a dark mango melody. Oh, there's some more little thistly type ones down here. Let's add those in as well. And then I think somewhere I've got this is light calypso coral. Actually, my light calypso coral is starting to run out. If I go onto the brush side, that should just bring that in. And then we'll have a bit of dark mango melody here as well. So there we are, we've got some that's our flowers. I'm actually using the brush side, so this is the mossy meadow, so a nice dark green. And again, I could have gone in with lots of different shades of green on this. I think I'll just go back to the granny apple green, because we've got the old olive on the other set of foliage. Right, so if we ignore the mess now that's on my mat, We've now got meadows and grasses that we're going to be able to add in to our picture. And the other thing we need to do, of course, is give some colour to our sheep. Oh look, little Bo Peep, we've lost a sheep again. Ah, here he is. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to take, in here somewhere I should have rustle as I rustle in the background through the, got a light smoky slate. I'm going to go with a, let's have light basic black. We'll have our dark petal pink. Let's need our light petal pink. And then I think when it comes to their bows, we'll have a dark Rococo rose. We'll perhaps pick out some of those colours that we've had in our flowers. Let's have a dark Highland heather. And let's have a let's go dark mango melody. So we'll have those three colours for their bows. Let me pop these away for now. So yesterday we were colouring sheep. The same applies when you're using blends. I'm just going to go round the edge with this light smoky slate. It just gives a bit of a end to where the, sort of helps define where the edges are, if you like. I'm going to leave them pretty well white apart from that, just that little bit of definition where those fluffy highlights are. Can you see the difference between those two? The difference it makes just adding that bit of grey around the edge. It really does make them pop out. It does give them a bit more of a 3D feel to them. So let's do the same with these. So I'm not really going to do any more in terms of colouring their fleece than that. We could have gone in and given them, we could give them a slightly different colour face. They could, and we could of course have a black sheep. If we so required. As we said yesterday, you could also have a pink sheep, a yellow sheep. You can have what colour you like. Oh, I've not cut round his ear. I will rectify that in just one moment. Can't see my snips. I will be very careful, little sheep, not to chop your ear off. There we go. It was just that end that wasn't cut round. Right, so there's the sheep have gone round the edge. Let's bring in the dark and the light petal pink. We'll give them some little pink noses. And that's just some little pink cheeks. Now, shall we go for pink ears or yeah, let's give them pink ears. Not madly pink. I'm just going to go in with the light petal pink, I think. We could have given them black ears. I'm going to use the light basic black for their feet. You could have stripy sheep. You could stamp sheep onto printed paper and have multicoloured sheep. Oh, that might be an idea, some paper piecing. Right, so let's go through and give them different coloured bows. So we'll have a mango melody bow. Obviously the farmer needs to tell them apart somehow. So we'll have Mango the sheep, Heather the sheep, this can be, can't it? This is Heather. And we'll have Rococo. Rococo's quite an exotic little sheep. She has a bit of continental flair about her. Right, let's see if we can build our frame. So we've got our frame that we created earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some, mind out sheepies, some Tombow onto these triangle pieces at the back here, and then we're going to take our backdrop with our wispy white clouds, and we're going to stick that in and just make sure that that's all pushed up against those bottom folds like that. And then we'll take our grassy hillock. So actually what we could do before we pop that in, actually if I get the could actually just grab the Pepper's as ink pad and that little grassy stamp, we could just add some, just a bit of texture really. Some tufts of grass to the background. There we go. Oh, you do that. I'm afraid I can't sign. There we are. So now we've got a grassy background. Then we've got these. Now, I do just need to going to shut that up so I don't lean in it. This old olive one, I'm just going to colour in this base so that that's not showing as bright white on the front there. We'll have some green there. So I think we'll have our flowers. I'm just going to run a thing of Tombow down the bottom there, and then on these end put a bit of Tombow there just so that catches on the end there as well. And we'll have that sitting along the front. Ooh. Like that. Then these grasses here, I think what I'll do with that is I'm going to bring in my trimmer and I am going to score along that bottom piece. I'm going to turn it over and take our dark olive again and just run some colour along this bottom. Because then I'm going to fold along that score line. You can tell that this is very much a work in progress, can't you? And we'll sit that. Come on, move forward. And we'll have our grasses coming up behind. So I'm going to put some glue along that fold. And tuck that in there. So that they're sitting behind. Let's just fill in some of those white bits. Because that's when they show up, isn't it, when you stick them on. This back piece actually we could have just cut from coloured card, but we didn't. I'll perhaps need to go in at a later date and fill some of those in. And then we've got our little sheep. Are going to be sitting in the meadow, and but I think we're going to put them up on dimensional so they're standing up a little bit. We'll have this one down this side. Now, I just need some sort of a sentiment to go on that, and I'm thinking it could perhaps be something a bit slightly bigger and bolder than we've got. Just looking. I think what we need at the moment is something like life is a beautiful thing, because indeed it is. It might be a bit tough at times, but it is a beautiful thing. So let's take a little bit more Whisper White card. Of which I had lots just now. Blue, barley grue, cuthbert dibble grub. I'll just grab a piece. Ooh, just spotted my dark mossy meadow. Blend, and we will take our Memento ink pad, stamp that, now I make that about 5.5 by 6.5, that banner just there. So I think if we grab another piece of right, I'm digging about in my scrap box to see what sizes pieces of card I've got. Those are all just a bit too square. Let's go with 6 by 6.5, I think, if I remember. Oh, no, it needed to be 6 by 7, but we should be able to trim that down. There we go. We'll have a little bit of a life is a beautiful thing banner in the background. I'm glad you're liking it, Glenda. It's quite nice and bright, isn't it? It made quite a nice picture for a nursery, well, for a nursery, full stop, isn't it? So I think we'll have that stuck to the back so the sheep are standing forward of it a little bit. Goodness me, ladies. We're going to have been here a very long time today, aren't we? But that's okay. I'm fine with that if you are. Now, because I can't find that stamp set, I'm just going to actually, I'm quite tempted to go with light pretty peacock. Let's see, can we make ourselves Just some dragonflies. Let's have a little one. Oh, no, it definitely needed to be the other side. Let's... What I might do actually is just going to add in a bit of green. No, I'm not going to worry my dragonflies. We're going to abandon dragonflies because we can. That is looking rather sweet, isn't it? So life is a beautiful thing. So all we need to do now is just grab our back piece to go on the back, funny enough. To just cover up that ugliness on the back. So it's all nice and neat. And then we're just going to pop that, glue that on. There. And it will then stand up like that. So you could have it on a shelf, or you can put a panel on the back, send it as a card. Obviously, if you're going to send it as a card, you are going to need to create yourself a box envelope for that to go in. But there we go. So a couple more projects to add to our two from yesterday. So here were our two from yesterday. We had our little gift bag. So that's that rabbit. So they are very different, aren't they? That's the rabbit watercoloured with ink. That's the rabbit coloured with blends. This one is stamped in black memento. That one was stamped in saddle brown memento. Here were the ones from yesterday again. These little rabbit coloured in watercolour pencils, very, very much softer. And the little sheep again, much softer in watercolour pencils. But they look very cute in blends as well. And there they are with a little bit of soft shading around the edge with that light grey. So, goodness me, after that marathon crafting session, it's been lovely to be here with you. I hope you've enjoyed that. Obviously, if you are here in the UK and you would like a catalogue, or you would like any of these stamp sets and things that we've been using today. Wonderful Easter is our main one. Colourful Seasons, I love the greetings in here. Fabulous stamp set. We use those friendly silhouette dies. We've been using the dies from the Best Dressed. So lots of lovely goodies we've used this morning, and obviously all those stamping blends. So lovely to spend some time with you this morning. I will be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when we will do something different again. But I think it's now time for a cup of tea, don't you? So see you all soon.